have to say it's super hard to describe her in just a few words, but she became the first female country singer as well as one of the youngest ones to go to #1 with her debut single, Paper Roses, was the youngest to have her own hit TV show with her brother Donnie. She's been on Dancing with the Stars, The Talk, The View, just about everything, and was the first person to have her own celebrity Barbie. That blows my mind. And after 11 years at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, her and Donnie are ending that run in November. Marie Osmond, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Kiki, it's so good to talk to you again.
Now, how hard was it for the both of you to make that announcement?
You know, it's one of those things that we really were going to do it for 6 weeks. Every year it'd be like, oh, how about another year? And well, let's call it this year. And then Donnie, over the last 3 years, he called it every year. And then he said, nah, let's not do it yet. And I'm like, bro, you got to make a decision. He's so funny. And you know, we went to our 10th year, and there's this stupid movie called Spinal Tap. and they go, you know, let's take it to, let's go to 11 because it's one more. And so we decided to Spinal Tap it and go to 11.
Oh.
So there.
Wow. Well, it's crazy. Now, but just watching you both make that announcement, you both got teary-eyed. I'm sitting there getting teary-eyed. It was so amazing, though, to see you both sit there and make that announcement. Really, pretty overwhelming, I think, for both of you.
Well, it has been just an incredible journey here. And, you know, it's really the thing that has kept us here for so long are the people. The fans come from all over the world, and their stories are so incredible. And to have that opportunity to meet with them after the show, and for me it was wonderful, Kiki, because I could sit down and have a stay-at-home job and, you know, raise my kids.
Right.
And it was really a great blessing for me as a mother because I came to Vegas to start over. I was going through, you know, divorce and custody battles and all these things, and
right.
And so it was my children just said, Mom, we need to go someplace and start over. So this presented itself, and it has just been a wonderful blessing.
Absolutely. For us, too, for sure.
Oh, you're kind.
Well, you are, and we all love you so much. Now, going back to your childhood, though, your parents, George and Olive, there were 9 of you. You were the only girl. Now, your brothers
Right.
were in the music business, and you didn't get into it until later on. You were on the Andy Williams.
Well, no, actually, I did. My first television show, I was 3 on the Andy Williams. And then I was the novelty act. I performed in Vegas, and I did shows, you know, in Japanese and Swedish and commercials and all these kinds of things. But I don't usually mention it because it's just, you know, it's stuff. But I would say my first big success was Paper Roses. You know, I was 12.
But now, when you were that young, see, I didn't realize that you did all of that other stuff, you say, you know, when you were younger. But why don't you think you were pushed into the forefront along with your brothers?
Well, I don't think I really, you know, you have to want it. And I was one of those kids that I was the only girl. I kind of felt like I was a ship in a different sea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I really got into the background. I was, you know, when we would tour, I did box office with my mother, and I was known as the Little Terror because I could find 2 tickets. Back before computers, they did it all with Deadwood.
Wow.
And I could go in and measure those stacks of hundreds, and I could find, you know, so many errors, and they were like terrified of me. And so, but I did a lot of the background stuff, and like I said, I did novelty songs. Like, really, Donnie and Marie happened when we were in Vegas, and I came out, and there was a song by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway called Where Is the Love?
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, and I came out and sang with Donnie, and so many people loved our voices. And then, you know, when Donnie started to lose his high notes, I actually sang those for him on some records. Was
that out there, or was that kind of like a secret thing?
No, that's kind of you didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because Mike Curb, you know, started me singing country. I would do shows with my brothers. It's so weird. I don't even know if this is interesting. But I found a journal of my mom. I've been reading her journals. And it said, Marie came to me tonight and said she's so frustrated with her brothers because they keep poking her in the back because she's not blending on stage with them.
Oh, my gosh.
And I, you know, they wanted me to have this pretty little soft voice. and I just didn't have it. I have a, well, I sing many styles of music, and so I lent myself more to belting and country, and then eventually, I sing, opera and jazz, and I'm doing an album right now where I'm doing the Great American Songbook. I just recorded in Prague, and
Wow.
I'm doing, German and French and Italian, and just I would love to do one album like that before I lose my ability to sing that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at your Christmas show, I could not believe the voice that was coming out of you. All different kinds. Like,
so
whoa.
Cute. Well, see, that didn't blend with my brothers very well.
But you made your way.
Oh, you do. You find your path. And, when I decided to start doing it, I just told God, I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it really well and be good at it. So, help me. Because I'm not the kind of person that half does anything,
Right. I can tell you like to do it, and you do it right.
You try your best, the best you can. If you fail, it's okay.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
at least you tried.
Absolutely. Now, both you and Donnie are so gracious, extremely gracious. You're humble, and not only do you both always say how much you love your fans. Now, a while back, I spoke with Matt Nelson. His dad is Ricky Nelson, and he said that his humbleness came from his dad always telling him and his brother to always appreciate the fans. Now, did your parents tell you all the same thing?
Absolutely. And, I remember, well, Elvis, I know everybody has their Elvis story. It's so silly, but he loved my mother. He loved her. He called her all the time.
Are you kidding?
Oh, no.
Wow.
And they would talk for hours and hours about, family and God, and just, he didn't have anybody like that in his life.
Wow.
And she looked very much like his mom.
Yes.
But one of the things that he told our family, I mean, we'd come to Vegas, there'd be a room full of flowers, and they were all for her from him.
Oh, my
so cute.
God. Wow.
So cute. Yeah, really sweet. But, he said to her and to us, he goes, the biggest mistake I ever made was when, the Colonel told me to lock myself away from the fans.
Oh.
And he said, if I could do it over again, he goes, I'd be with them, I'd shake them, I'd go in the audience and be with them. And he says, because it's lonely otherwise. And that made a big impression on us as kids,
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
For real. Now, going back to, your mom and family and everything, during the time that you and Donnie were, did your TV show, you were around all kinds of other musical families at the time. We had the Jackson 5, the Partridge Family, the Carpenters, the Bee Gees, who eventually wrote some songs for you. Now, did you ever have a connection with any of these families?
Oh, sure. I mean, I dated Andy.
What?
Oh, yeah.
You did? That's one piece I missed, and now I'm mad at myself.
Don't be mad. I dated a lot of people they don't know about.
Oh, do tell. Love that.
It's really okay.
Oh,
But no, of course, Andy used to come over to the house, and he'd come and have Thanksgiving with us, and Andy was a doll. And I think Andy and I related on a level where we had all these famous brothers.
right.
And the two of us were kind of in our own solo careers, And so Andy was just the sweetest. Oh my gosh, I just loved him. And but yeah, you meet. I grew up with all these celebrity kids, and it's kind of like a sorority, I guess. But the one thing that I watched, and I wasn't naive in any sense. I just made choices because of the things I saw. But most of my friends, they're not around anymore. Mm-hmm. Because of bad choices and, drugs and different things like that. And so it was an interesting business. And I also believe, Kiki, I have 8 children. And so you have to grow up. You have to be the parent and raise the kids. And I think a lot of times our business, because of management and, different things like that, and people, they want you to need them because it gives them a job.
Right.
These kids don't really get an opportunity to grow up and handle their own lives and understand the business and their money, and and so they get taken advantage of, and they're kind of leave damaged,
Right. So do you think that's a big part of why you still have such a huge success, you and your brother, that you had such a great support system around you.
Oh, I think that, I don't know if we always had a great support system around us as far as people. You know, I mean, we were taken advantage of and lost everything, but
how did that happen, do you think? How did that happen?
Well, I think that my dad was brilliant. Oh my gosh, most amazing man. But as my brothers got older, they wanted to run it themselves, and they hired some people that maybe weren't as ethical as they should have been. And my dad, though, one of the greatest lessons he ever taught me by his example is when we lost everything, they wanted to take out Chapter 11, and my dad said, absolutely no. This is your fault, and you're going to pay everybody back.
Wow.
You know, it's not their problem, it's your problem. And he taught us that ethics is the best way to having self-worth. And so we sold everything, man, I'm telling you.
Oh
you know? And, I mean, I was a single mom every month wondering how I was going to pay my rent and feed my child. And then music. Music was always my go-to. Music has saved my life, and I still am so grateful. I say it in the show here in Vegas, you know, that the fact that I'm still 29 and singing is just so wonderful, and I appreciate it. But, you know,
and you look 29.
I after having my hits, solo hits with Paper Roses and songs like that, then I recorded with Donnie. But when we lost everything, I went back to my roots, which was country. And I joke around and I say, Kiki, that, you know, I finally had been through enough crap and damage that now I could legitimately sing country music, and I had a bunch of hits. So,
well, again, music, like you said, I think it saves all of us, whether we're celebrities or not. It's just music is such a wonderful part of all of our lives, and that's why you and everyone is so important to people like me. You know. Oh,
you're so kind. I think maybe that's why I have loved spending my life learning how to sing, you know, multiple genres, because it's just a great, good music is good music no matter what style it is.
Absolutely. And I also read that you and your family, I'm sorry I keep going back to your childhood, but I just love it.
No, it's good.
I love it. I love the fact that you all had family night once a week.
Oh, yes.
And you used to sing and...
It was, you know, you look at society today, and there's so much that drives you away from time, even eating dinner together.
Right.
And we all worked, you know. And so Friday night was our family night. And we did not answer the phone.
Perfect.
Nobody was allowed over. You weren't allowed to have friends. And you spent time with each other. We ate at the dinner table. We talked. We laughed. We played. You know, some nights we sang. Some nights I remember those old reel-to-reel movies that you would rent from Disney and would put blankets all on the floor and put up the movie screen and watch movies. And so, you know, we did, my parents were very adamant that family was something that, you know, you can pick your friends, you can't pick your family.
That's right.
So if you can get along with your family, you can get along with anybody.
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. So that tradition, have you carried any piece of that to your own family today?
Oh, yes. We do it on Monday nights now. And that's time for my children and my husband. My husband and I love to spend Mondays because I don't work on Mondays, and so it works out really well.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, when you and Donnie started your TV show, you had everybody. Everybody was on that show. Who were you the most nervous to meet?
Oh my goodness. It was amazing. I remember when Groucho Marx did the show.
Oh, my gosh.
And I literally had to like, Google. Not Google. Google didn't exist. I had to do research.
You had to go to the library. You had to go to the card catalog.
To go in and see all of those movies. And I was in awe of him. He was very old. And I tease I say, you know, he's dirty old man, pinch my butt. But, you know, John Wayne was amazing to have on.
Wow.
Roy Rogers, Del Evans, you know, it was crazy. Probably my favorite person who I loved and loved watching as a child was Lucille Ball.
I knew you were going to I just knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, I loved her. She was an intelligent woman. She was the first lady to have a studio in California. And she was so smart. And I loved women that were pretty, and funny.
Right.
And it was so brilliant. She came in and just went, well, that's not going to work, and this isn't going to work, and, you know, you got to fix this line. And I just watched her, and I know you don't have time for a lot of stories, but... No, I
do. I do. I do. I love this.
Well, we had the child welfare laws, and we put the recording studio in our home because there's no way we could have done those shows if we didn't, because of welfare laws. So
wow.
I went in and I had recorded late at night, and I was super tired. And so I told my mom, I said, I'm going to sneak over to the studio early. I'm going to go over at 5 and sleep for an hour before I have to start getting ready at 7. And so I got there, and my makeup artist, Fred Williams, was already doing somebody in makeup. And I'm like, what? And so I kind of kept walking by, and I realized it was Lucy.
Wow. And
long story short, I kept watching, and I said, why didn't you I would have used a different makeup person. I'm 16, 17 years old,
Right.
And she goes, no, this is your show. I'm the guest, but Fred always does me. So I'll come in early and have Fred do me before he does you.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And then she said, did you like what you saw? Because I watched the transformation, And and she said, let me tell you something. She goes, you're good. You want to last in this business? Know your lighting. And she said, men age gracefully, women get old. Don't allow it. And she spent so much time with me, teaching me all these little things that make a difference in your face. And she showed me the shape of my face and what the best lighting was. And I mean, she's a remarkable person.
But that memory that you have just right now of Lucille Ball talking to you and giving you tips and tricks, how crazy is
well, and we did many shows besides ours. I did a lot of shows with Bob Hope and her. Yeah.
Did you do the USO shows as well?
I did so many. As a matter of fact, you talked about me being the first celebrity Barbie. That's like one of my favorite awards. But
I love that.
But
I can't.
I was just given an award by General Mattis from Robert Brown, who is over the Pacific region of the military, and he came to a show in Hawaii. It was my birthday, and he gave me an award, and I touted it as my last 29th birthday. It was in October. And he said, well, I know it's your 29th birthday, but 35 years ago, I was a young man in Saudi Arabia when you came over with Bob.
Oh,
and he gave me an award, and it was so, oh my gosh, it was so sweet, and probably one of my most cherished medals or awards, I guess you could say. But I love Bob. I learned so much from him. And anybody who doesn't understand the sacrifice that these men and women make for us.
Absolutely.
Boy, I just want to say, go over there.
Right.
These families give up so much, to keep us safe and to keep us protected and to keep us strong. And I love America. And I swear to you, it's from being over there and doing so many shows and things with USO.
That's incredible, Marie. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you pay tribute to our servicemen and women. I saw it in your Christmas show. I
do that in the Christmas show. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. And people, I have to say, so I go to a lot of shows, and everybody walking, I always like to notice, what are people's expressions when they walk out of that show? And everyone had a smile on their face.
No, that makes me happy.
Everyone. They were just so thrilled with what you do.
I tell people, I go, you can buy a Christmas gift if you want, but you don't remember what you got 5 years ago or even 3 years ago.
You're right.
But you remember experiences. And I tell everybody, I promise them, if you come to the Christmas show, you will have an experience and you will leave with a Christmas spirit. And it's a fun show, isn't it?
It is.
I love that show.
Now, is this something that you and Donnie will still be doing, even though Vegas is almost over?
I don't think so, not for a while. There's a bunch of projects that I know I want to do. I think he's working on some things, but I have some movies coming out.
Wow.
That before I get too old.
Oh, you look amazing.
I've always wanted to do that. And I've got some wonderful actors that are going to do it with me, that I'm so honored to work with them.
Wow.
The script is, I lived in New York. After the Donnie Marie show, I moved to New York.
Okay.
And I studied with Lee Strasberg.
Oh, wow.
And I always wanted to pursue it, but that's when we lost all of our money. And so I had to come home. I couldn't afford to live there. And then I had to do a bunch of like so-so movies to help make money, so that we could get out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never really been able to do some movies that I've always wanted to do. And so I'm going to do that. I also, like I said, I have this new symphonic album. I have a bunch of symphony dates coming up.
Wow.
For me. And, Boston Pops and all these really great symphonies that I'm really excited, while I still have the voice,
That's amazing. Well, you still have it. I can tell you that.
So I really love that style of music and that genre and that mode of performance, and I would love to do that. My husband is the best, and he's like, go have fun. You've worked for over 5 decades. Go do some things you want to do and just go enjoy yourself. And, those are some of the things that I would really love to do while I can still sing multiple genres,
And again, it's great that your husband is supporting you in all of this.
Oh, he's the best. They don't make him like that. I'm telling you, he's so awesome. Greatest thing. My children love him. He is dad, boy. They adore him more than anything on the planet.
Well, how did
and
you
he's
both?
So good to them.
How did you both connect that second time, and that it was not expected?
Well, I was in Vegas, and I was moving here, and my son came to help, and he said, "Dad's with me," and I, brought him over, and then I during Dancing with the Stars, I had seen him, but really we didn't really date till Las Vegas, and then we kept it very quiet because my children loved him, and I didn't want to break their hearts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were very quiet about it, and then we were thinking of getting married, and then my son passed away, so he was like, no, we're going to wait a while,
right,
until the children can heal, and he's just a great person,
Yeah, absolutely. You're blessed to have him in your life. I can tell.
So blessed, yeah. Because honestly, 50 years from now, no one's going to know me, Kiki.
Yeah, I think they will.
But,
I do.
No, I don't think so. But my
do.
children will.
Yeah.
But more importantly, my grandchildren will, and my great grandchildren will. And those are the relationships and the things that, to me, are the most important.
Well, and obviously, you love children. In 2016, you released your album, Music is Medicine, the title song, the video. They are so great. They're powerful. And the fact that you, along with John Schneider, are co-founders of the Children's Miracle Network, you guys have raised over $5 billion. And it's just such an amazing contribution from you to be able to do this for these children. Tell us what this organization means to you.
Oh, you're so cute. Well, we started it because we wanted all the money to stay local, and we wanted all the money to go to the kids, which no charity really can say that.
That's right.
And there are all these great causes out there, but they all need to be treated. And these hospitals are last on government funding. And it to me, that's crazy because they're such a staple in the community. They go out and they teach prevention to schools. They train all your pediatricians. They're amazing.
Right.
And so we put this together. Actually, Kiki, we are at $6.5 billion now.
What? Oh my! Like how amazing, Marie, that you can take your celebrity and be able to give back like that.
Well,
really,
you know what? The people who align themselves with us are the celebrities that give and don't get paid.
Right.
They're good people, and I don't get, people that have to get paid to do charity. I don't necessarily believe in that, but we do it because we love the kids, and that's what's important. We're so blessed.
Absolutely.
And these hospitals, I've had 2 of my children, saved in a children's hospital.
Wow.
So, every night at meet and greet, there's somebody that says, my child this, or my grandchild this, or my niece this, or it's pretty cool. And statistics show that everybody will use one at some time in their life.
Yep.
But those are the things that have great meaning to me, especially as a mother,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, going back to that Barbie doll. Sorry, I just have to.
You're so funny.
Tell us about the moment you found out you were getting your own Barbie doll. Do you remember that moment?
Oh, my gosh. I'm the only girl in my family. Barbie and I were born the same year.
I love
Barbie's aging better than I am, and it ticks me off.
I don't believe that for one second.
True.
No.
But when I heard that Mattel was coming over and sculpting my face,
oh my gosh,
to do a Barbie doll, I was like, what?
So you didn't know?
And then they did the body, and you can tell. The thing that was shocking to me, though, was the outfit they picked for it. Remember that really ugly pink and purple outfit?
Well, I mean, that was the thing,
My gosh, Kiki, it was so funny. We walked into shoot the doll pictures, and Donnie looked at his and he goes, no. And I looked at mine and I went, oh, my gosh. And I said to him, Donnie, it's okay because it'll just be for the doll. It'll never be seen anyplace else. And then they put it on an album cover.
I love it.
It was so funny.
I love it. Oh, my gosh. And now, so we go from the doll, and I'm sorry, I'm going down to the shoes, Marie. The shoes. I got to say, your shoes are the highest, the prettiest. How do you go? You going down the stairs. I don't even understand as a woman how you can do this. You must practice like hours every day.
No, there are certain types of shoes that are easier to walk in than others. Well, when I put the weight on, the heels went down. When I lost the weight, my daughters go, Mom, get yourself back in them. And I'm kind of known for my shoes here in Vegas. Yes,
I can tell why.
But they my girls are cute. They threw all my clothes out and took my credit card and went shopping and spiffed me up and they're like, well, I said, if I'm going to get back in them, then you're going to bury me in them. And so that's our deal.
Oh, my gosh. Well, if you ever get rid of the shoes, not that I would fit in them, you know my name. I'll take a pair.
You're so cute.
Not that I'll be able to walk in them, but Now, again, all these amazing years, you said you're going to be doing movies now that Vegas is coming to a close. You've blessed all of us, and we're so blessed to have you. Just tell us the one thing that you're the most thankful for over all these years.
Oh, I'm thankful. If I would have just sum it up, I'm so thankful for so many things. I'm thankful that my parents raised me to believe in God and to encourage me to not follow them, but to have my own understanding and my own knowledge, not to be, that way because of them, but to do it because there's a reason that it's important, and to find that reason because it's blessed me throughout my entire life. In the choices I've made, through the struggles I've been through, the ups and downs, I'm just grateful that I've always had that to lean on. It keeps your priorities solid. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I know that today that's not cool necessarily, and people are trying to rationalize it away. But I've read too much and I've studied too many religions and everything else. Something has to frame the heavens because the natural order is to go to chaos. So what's holding it all together?
Right.
And to think that we just were created from a cell banging against another cell is beyond me, because that's an impossibility. It's like, I forget what's his name. He threw a deck of cards in the air and he said, now all of you land in perfect suits, go. And he said, that's how ridiculous that we just, blew up. Now that's my personal belief, and I'm not saying anybody should believe what I believe, but I do believe there's a higher power, order, whatever you want to call it. And it has really blessed me. It really, truly has.
Well, I'm with you on that for sure. And I was really, again, going back to your Christmas show, just the fact that you bring up God and you sing about God, I thought it was really cool because no one does that anymore. They really don't. It's like people are afraid to do that and to talk
There's
about
a song on my new album. Another thing that I'm doing these shows. I'm kind of excited. We do big stadium shows like, 17 to 30,000 people with this group called Nashville Tribute Band and a bunch of other amazing celebrities.
Wow.
And I do it with them, and we bring all Christian denominations together. Because I'm like, guys, I don't care what your denominational differences are. We believe in the same Jesus Christ and the same Bible. And I said, but if we don't unite and keep ourselves strong, the world's going to chaos. And oh my gosh, they are the most unbelievable concerts. You should check one out sometime. They're
Absolutely.
So fun.
I would love to. I would love to.
And I do so many different kinds of things, and I love that. It keeps you challenged and busy, and it's fun. But just very grateful for my parents. Good people, solid.
Well, you can tell that they did such a wonderful job. Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, we were blessed, boy. I remember, okay, one more story. I remember I was about 16, I think, ish. And we were doing the Donnie Marie shows. And, we worked hard. We had to memorize like 350 pages of script in 2.5 days.
Oh, my gosh.
And we put in 18-hour days. It was a lot of work. And so I came home late at night, and I go, Mom, I'm going to bed. And she goes, what? I said, I'm tired. I said, I just worked 18 hours, and I have to tape in the morning, and I'm tired. She goes, you haven't done your chores. And I said, Mom, I'm like, the show's in 17 languages. I'm like, Marie Osmond. And she goes, oh, really? Well, that's your job, and this is reality. And just because you're being arrogant, you can clean the toilets, too. Get to work.
Yeah, talk about why you had to stay humble.
And I was like, okay, well, there you go, humbling.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, she was the best, because it's true. It's a job.
Now,
reality is like everybody else. God doesn't care who we are on this earth. He cares what we are and how we treat people.
Absolutely.
And she was just the best. And boy, I cleaned the toilets, let me tell you. She was great.
I love that. I just love it. And honestly, Marie, you're gorgeous on the outside. You're more than amazing on the inside.
Oh, you're kind.
Oh, thank you so very much for sharing and just being who you are. We're so blessed to have you. And thank you so much, Marie.
Oh, you are so lovely. It's so nice to talk to you. Love you, Kiki.
Thanks, Marie.
All right, you guys.
You're the
All
best.
right.